father, and grandfather. We are grateful for each and every day we got to see his glowing smile, and for the lessons learned and all the stories he shared. Mike's life began 48 years ago. His mother and father, Antonia and Michael, were so proud to have their first son. Mike has always shared such fond memories of his parents, siblings. He reminisced how hard both of his parents worked for his family, and always sharing when he was in second grade how his dad became ill, and the strength of his parents' marriage was incredibly strong as they faced many challenges, and his mom having to go and find a job to support his family. During those times, his parents still kept life as normal as possible for their children. As a Slovenian family, the smell of the pizza cooking in the kitchen was the warmest memory for him. The faith of God was also so strong within their home. He admired his older sister Maria, and remembering when he was a little guy, he would always crawl into her bed when he was scared at night. Maria would lift up the blanket and welcome her little brother to comfort him. Maria continued to be a comfort to Mike, even when he was an adult. He also shared the times when Diana and him played outside and worked on cars together. Andy, his baby brother, was definitely a gift from God. Mike said the overwhelming feeling of when Andy was born was one of the best times in his life. Mike pretty much taught Andy everything he needed to know about cars. Today, Andy works for Ford Racing, and I truly believe Mike's wisdom of cars shaped Andy's future. When talking about his family, Mike always had a proud smile on his face. In 1983, I met Mike when I was just shy of 16 years old. We both joined a Christian play called Telestein. When I actually played a beggar, and he operated the lights and sound. I remember looking up and seeing that young man who had such a beautiful smile, and asking a friend who he was. We started dating that year, February 25th. Our first date, he picked me up from Regina High School and took me to Chi-Chi's Mexican restaurant, where we laughed at how awkward that first date was. The respect that he had for me was incredible. Mike instantly made me feel secure. It did not take me long to realize that Mike was my soulmate. While going to high school, Mike worked at May Company as a security guard. And as we all know, Mike always told such good stories. One that he shared was a story of when he crawled up in the ceiling to look out a one-way glass ceiling tile to catch any shoplifters, and noticed a little boy right below him, and he heard the little boy say, "I don't have enough," as he counted his money. So Mike cracked open the ceiling tile and dropped the $10 bill from the ceiling, which amazingly landed right in front of the boy. The boy looked up with disbelief and put his hands together and said, "Thank you, God." Now you understand why I fell so deeply in love with Mike. I had the great honor of seeing him graduate from St. Joseph High School in 1984, and then he attended Lakeland College for Criminal Justice. While attending Lakeland, UPS was recruiting students to work as preloaders, and Mike was one of the lucky ones that got the job. We dated for 7.5 years before we married on June 16, 1990. I could not believe I finally was Mrs. Branco, and how proud I was to have his last name. 4 months after we got married, we found out that we were going to have our first baby. I remember walking out of the bathroom and his face looking at me with anticipation, wondering if those results were positive. When telling him I was pregnant, he picked me up, threw me up, and gave me the biggest hug ever. On June 30th, 1991, our beautiful daughter, Michelle Antonia, was born. She brought so much joy and happiness. It was also that year that Mike became a package car driver for UPS. Because our family was growing, we moved into our first home in Euclid, January 1992. It was not long after our move, that our little angel Maria Nicole was born March 10, 1993. Poor Mike. He knew he was outnumbered, but that didn't matter. He was so happy to have his second girl. Another change in Mike's job came shortly after Maria was born. Mike became a UPS semi-truck driver. I remember how hard the decision was, that meant second shift, and we knew that that was going to be challenging to our family. But it was guaranteed more, it meant more guaranteed hours. There was many UPS managers, co-workers that helped Mike to become one of the best UPS drivers around, but one in particular is Sheffield, who was a father to Mike and taught him not only about driving, but life. I would also like to thank Wiz, Larry, Don, Bob, and so many of the others who have always been so good to Mike. The stories of how Mike was always there to help a friend in need and offer a warm smile at work comforts all of us and keeps his spirit alive. 7 years after being married, we knew that a major piece of our family puzzle was not complete. So we planned on having our little princess Marissa Rose, who was born January 10, 1998. It's okay, Haley. She's a truly blessing from God. As the years went on, both Mike and I enjoyed being involved with our children's school, St. Felicitas, by volunteering for many fundraisers and becoming PTU presidents. We also enjoyed becoming Eucharistic ministers, and together our faith became very strong. In 2004, we moved our family to our Munson Township home, where there were many good memories created. Mike loved doing yard work as well as feeding the bluebirds. Woodworking and working on cars was also something he really enjoyed. When I was 40, I had a feeling that we were expecting our fourth child. And after confirming those feelings with a pregnancy test, I walked up to Mike before I was able to tell him. The expression on my face must have said it all. He hugged me and said, "This is God's will." My worries quickly disappeared. After 12 weeks, unfortunately, we had a miscarriage. Today, I have such a peaceful feeling knowing that Mike is finally holding our little girl. Lastly, I would like to share with all of you Mike's challenges with anxiety and depression since he was a young teenager. He had his ups and downs, but always seemed to have a beautiful smile on his face regardless of what he felt like on the inside. As we continue to heal today, we realize this wasn't our Mike, our dad, that wanted to leave us. He lost his battle to depression. The poem that I am going to read was given to Mike from a very good friend a couple years ago. There's a hole in my sidewalk. I walked down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fell in. I am lost. I am helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in again. I can't believe I am in this place again. But it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. I walk down that same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it is there. I still fall in. It's a habit. But my eyes are open. I know where I am. It's my fault. I get out immediately. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around. I walk down another street. Mike's depression prevented him from walking down that other street. We all believe that he is now at peace, finally walking down that other street. Our family chain is broken, and nothing seems the same, but as God calls us one by one, the chain will link again.